Coming up next on Being Well, we're talking to two men whose voices are probably familiar to you. Tim Stolz and Kurtis Allen are here to talk about their weight loss journey. They have a great story to share and some advice for anyone who's struggling with weight or thinking about starting a weight loss program. That's just ahead on this edition of Being Well, so don't go away. Production of Being Well is made possible in part by Sarah Bush Lincoln Health System, supporting healthy lifestyles, eating a heart-healthy diet, staying active, managing stress, and regular checkups are ways of reducing your health risks. Proper health is important to all at Sarah Bush Lincoln Health System. Information available at sarahbush.org. Dr. Ruben Boyajian, located at 904 Medical Park Drive in Effingham, specializing in breast care, surgical oncology, as well as general and laparoscopic surgery. More information online or at 347-2255. Rediscover Paris. Our patient care and investments in medical technology show our ongoing commitment to the communities of East Central Illinois. Paris Community Hospital Family Medical Center. Welcome to this edition of Being Well. I'm your host, Lori Banks, and today I've got two gentlemen on the show whose voices may sound familiar, but you may not know their faces. And I've got Tim Stolz and Kurtis Allen from WMCI, and we're here actually today not to talk about radio, but to talk about a journey that you guys have both been on, and that's a weight loss journey, and something that a lot of people out there have been on. Let's talk a little bit about, have you always had issues with weight? Kurtis, I'll start with you.
I was always a bigger guy. I was always the bigger kid. I was always taller than a lot of other kids in school till about high school. But I've always been a little bit overweight, and I had a couple of pretty major back surgeries in high school. And that kind of hindered lifting weights and stuff like that. It eliminated a lot of the exercise that I did because pain just became a regular thing. And so you combine that with, you still eat the way you did before, and through the end of high school and through college, I put on weight and really kind of ballooned then. So that's kind of how it started for me.
Yeah, Tim, what about you?
Similar to Kurtis, when I was a kid, I was always the bigger kid, and when I got to high school, it just kind of got worse and worse. I was on the football team for a while, and I was the big guy on the football team, and even when I got out of sports, I was not doing the physical activity as much anymore, and I was still eating the way I always had, and it just ballooned from there, and it's been getting progressively worse throughout my adult life as well.
Now, you're both in your early 30s. Have you throughout your life tried to lose weight or gone on a weight loss program?
There's been a couple of different diets that I tried through college and after college, and a couple of years ago there was a program with Sarah Bush that was more about portion control and lifestyle change, and I was able to lose about 45 or 50 pounds with that. I put a little bit of it back on, but other than that, I mean, this is the first real sort of full-on diet that I've ever really done to this level, I suppose.
Yeah. Tim, what about you?
Yeah, I'd never done any structured diet before. I've just tried to do stuff on my own in terms of joining a gym, getting in more exercise, trying to watch what I eat and control what I eat, and it's just never had any measurable success associated with it.
So we want to tell people that Kurtis and Tim are participating in Sarah Bush's HMR program, which is a medically supervised, when you said structured, it's food, you're eating the HMR meals, correct?
Yeah, it's they have shakes and meals and bars, things like that, but it's I'm doing what's called decision free, so it's 3 shakes a day and 2 entrees, so I'm able to kind of space that out through the day with a shake for breakfast, entree for lunch, shake in the afternoon, entree for dinner, shake for dessert kind of thing. And it's all low calorie, and it's combined with exercise. You're reintroducing exercise into your life, and you try to burn off right around 2,000 calories is what they want you to burn off throughout a week. So I'm up to right around 3,800, 4,000 calories now a week, which I couldn't have imagined when I started this journey. So it's pretty crazy how well this has worked for me.
So what was it like, Tim, I'll ask you, when you first started to go from probably eating, whatever you wanted to now all of a sudden, here's all I get for the day?
Right. Yeah, it was a big transition, and it was really rough for the first week or two, and it was mostly just because of habit. You're used to eating whatever you want, whenever you want, and suddenly you have to be very, very structured in what you're eating. And it wasn't so much that I was hungry all the time, I just felt like I should be hungry. And the habit of eating just was a hard thing to break. But once you get over that first couple of weeks and you get sort of used to what you're eating and your body gets more used to it, it becomes a little easier. And especially when you're getting a lot more physical activity in, you're spending a lot more time working out and doing stuff to be active, you're not bored so much, so you're not having boredom hunger. You're not eating just out of nothing to do.
So what were some of the bad habits that you did have that now you don't partake in anymore?
Well, I was never like a sweet soda guy, but if you put like a 24-ounce ribeye in front of me, I was going to eat it. Like, portion control was the big thing for me. And one thing I've been able to learn, people see the meals, they think it's these little boxes, but like if you were to put this on a plate and you combine it with all your veggies that you're eating now, I mean, it's a full meal. And so we're not hungry at all, actually, which is pretty cool. But portion control was the biggie for me. Sure, if a double bacon cheeseburger is good, then I bet a triple's even more awesome, kind of thing. But so just portion control, and also getting away from the high calorie stuff too. That's been the biggie for me.
Did you guys know a lot about nutrition before you started this and what you should be eating?
Oh. Well, I mean, I think I took a nutrition class once here at EIU, and I think I got an A in it. I mean, I don't know if I actually learned anything, but I'm pretty sure
I mean, yeah, I didn't know really the difference between a high-calorie thing and a low-calorie thing, that were essentially the same amount of food volume-wise. And so, yeah, the food on the program it's the same amount that you'd get if you went to a restaurant and you ordered an entree and sides. But it's a lot low-calorie, and it's a lot more nutritionally healthy for you. It got all the stuff your body needs in it, whereas before, I might have just been tearing through a pizza and getting 5 times as many calories and not near as much of the nutritional content.
So now are you label? Well, you're still on the program, but are you label reading more?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's something it's a habit that my mom's big into label reading. She always has been. So it's a habit I tried to pick up from her. It never really caught on with me, but with this program, since we started this back in January, big time. Because I mean, it's not rocket science. This weight loss stuff. It really isn't. I mean, you burn off more than you take in. So low calorie is good. Calories the first thing I look at now when I look at a label.
Let's talk about how you've incorporated exercise into the program, because that's the other key component to this. Yeah,
that's definitely the biggest component of it, I think. It started slow. I think that's the case for anybody when they start weight loss. You start slow. You don't overexert yourself. You don't set some crazy lofty goal early. So when I started, I was just a little bit of trying to reintroduce walking, some cardio into it. And I do about a mile a day, and now 5.5 months later, I'm walking and running. I'm running. It's awesome. I'm running 3 miles every morning. I did that this morning before I came in. Wow. So there's different stuff for whatever you want to do, whatever sort of exercise fits you best, you can do. But for me, I mean, that's been the great thing, to be able to introduce cardio again.
I got myself back into the gym on a regular basis, and back at the beginning of the year, I'd be lucky if I could make it about a 45-minute workout, and I'd feel like, okay, I'm completely drained. But yeah, I got progressively better as the weight came off and as my body got more used to it. And recently I got to the point where after like 3 hours in the gym, I'm like, okay, I got to stop because I've got other things I have to go do, but I'm not tired yet.
Which you've come a long way, because before taping you said you would walk through the local Walmart and you would be tired and pain.
That's how bad it got, to the point where just basic walking around a store or just out in front of the house, walking around the block would just kill my back and kill my knees and kill my feet. And I'd have to sit down and catch my breath. So yeah, just the basic kind of movement was difficult. And yeah, now I'm to the point where, I'll jog 3, 4, 5 miles on a whim, and it's
Wow.
just, I need to burn off the energy.
Yeah.
Are you shocked, surprised that, wow, I can do this now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am. I really am. I thought, I told you this before we started, I didn't think I'd ever be able to do any running again. Like, with the surgeries and all that stuff, just everyday pain was sort of a part of my life, and it was just something I sort of accepted. And so when people go, wow, you've lost 90 some pounds, you must feel good. The casual reaction, yeah, I do, I feel great. But yeah, like there's a lot of pain that's gone that I didn't have to deal with before. So I can't believe that I'm able to do 3 or 4 miles every morning, and that I'm living a mostly pain-free existence these days. I mean, that's great,
So let's for our viewers, let's put this on a timeline. You guys started this in January of 2015. As we're taping this today, depending on when people see it, we're taping this on, it's
June 30th?
June 30th, so we're 6 months in. People may see this later, this summer or in the fall, or a few years from now. How much have you lost at this point? You're 6 months into it. What's your weight loss at?
I'm at 91 or 92 pounds, depending on which way I tilt on the scale. But right around 92 pounds so far.
And Tim?
And I just hit 150.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's great. So where is do you have an end point, or?
I'd like to get to the 150 mark when it's all said and done. I mean, perfect world, that's what I would like to do. But just cracking 100, I'll be happy with that too. So
I had no real goal when I started because I'd never lost any measurable weight in my life, so I didn't know that it was going to be successful to any degree. So I didn't even want to set a goal just to not reach it. So, now I'm passing the 150 mark. I'm kind of just like, I want to see how far I can go, because I'm still losing as much week to week now as I was back when I started.
Okay.
It's not even slowing down.
That's what I was going to ask. Have either of you reached any kind of plateau yet?
for me, not really. I was consistently losing 2 or 3 pounds every week, and in the last 6 weeks, it's been 4 or 5 pounds every week, and I've had a couple where it spiked like 7 pounds. The first week, everybody had a big loss. I think I lost 15 pounds my first week.
Wow.
Same for me.
Tim lost 15 as well his first week, and so that was a big motivating factor. But I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't had a steady plateau. But we know that if we do plateau, just to kind of stick with it, and it's gonna pick back up.
So it sounds like through the 6 months that you've been in it, it's been all pretty positive. Have there been any like real roadblocks or challenges that you've come up against?
Closest thing to a challenge is that your weight loss will kind of go up and down. There will be weeks when it seems like you are plateauing, but the next week, it drops again and you have significantly more weight loss. And if you get frustrated easily, that week that comes along where you maybe only lose half a pound or something like that can make you think, well, maybe this is it for me. Maybe I need to transition into the next phase and just try to maintain where I'm at now. But, you stick with it another week or another 2 weeks, and then you see more weight drop off again. So you can't, even if you're eating the exact same amount of food as you did a week when you had big loss, and you're getting the same amount of physical activity as a week when you had a big loss, there may be a week where you just don't lose as much for some reason.
Right. And, I think one of the challenges that I've had, not that it's been a major challenge, is you don't want to eat the same things every day, too.
Right.
If it gets monotonous, that's when people start to tune out on what they're doing, no matter what the diet is. They get bored with it. So, spice and seasoning is your best friend in the world. You don't have to be like Martha Stewart or something in the kitchen, but, just adding flavor into your meals is going to make a big difference. And I think that's going to keep people motivated to stay on a diet too, just trying to experiment in the kitchen as well. And like Tim said, not getting frustrated when you do sort of plateau or you don't have that big week compared to maybe the week before when you did.
So have you tried different foods that you never have had before?
I don't know.
Or tried different seasonings, or you're in the kitchen actually experimenting?
Well, you know what? See, I can speak to the seasoning one. Like I've discovered that I'm pretty good when it comes to some garlic. Not that I was ever a huge garlic fan, but for some odd reason, I like a little garlic these days. I hate broccoli with a passion. Oh, oatmeal. I got to talk about oatmeal.
Okay.
I hated oatmeal with an absolute, I hated it. I didn't understand how anybody could ever eat oatmeal ever. And there's these sugar-free syrups that exist. They're 0 calorie, and there's one that's salted caramel, and I'll put a shot of that in my oatmeal, and I think it's the greatest thing ever now. I love oatmeal these days. I've flipped over to the Go Oatmeal team.
Okay.
So.
Still, where are you at with the broccoli team? No.
Well, this is okay. So we talked about this. We have weekly classes we get to do, and Tim talked about eating out of boredom. If you feel like you're hungry, if you were to go into your refrigerator and there was nothing in there but just plain broccoli, maybe you could put a little salt on it. Are you that hungry that you would eat that? And if you go, oh no, okay, well then you're not really. If you're plain broccoli hungry, then you know you're hungry, kind of thing. So
that's a very good point.
So
next time you're thinking you're hungry,
right,
use that broccoli.
That's right, exactly.
Story. Tim, are there foods that you've ate that you thought, I'm never going to eat this or try this?
Well, I'm trying a lot more of fresh greens and fruits and vegetables now. I used to have a big sweet tooth, and if I was going for a snack, I'd either go for some candy, something sugary, or bag of chips or something like that, just the junk food. And now I'm a lot more into the fresh stuff. I'm hitting the fruits and vegetable aisle at the grocery store, and I'm loading up on that stuff, and I'm getting all my snacks are healthy stuff now, and so just way more into the salads and the fruits and the vegetables than I used to be. Not that I never would have eaten that stuff before, but much more focused on it now.
And I think that you get different cravings that you wouldn't expect before. Like before we started this, I could never imagine craving a salad. Like it's a treat to have a salad, you know what I mean? Like you genuinely, oh my God, this is the best salad I've ever had in my life, kind of thing. You would never think that you would get excited about eating a salad, but
and that's funny because you don't hear women are typically, oh, I'm going to have a salad. You don't typically hear men say, oh, I really want a salad.
Exactly. Like I said before, if you put the giant steak in front of me, I'd be a happy camper. But now, if I get a chance to have a salad, it's awesome. I love salad.
How have you handled special occasions, birthdays, parties, that sort of stuff? Because you're eating this pre-planned food. So how do you go about handling that?
Planning's the big key.
Okay.
People have asked me that before, and I tell everybody you have to plan. So, like as we're taping this, 4th of July is this weekend. You don't have to eat 8 hot dogs because it's America's birthday. Yes. You know what I mean? So maybe I'll have an entree before I go to that cookout. Or Tim, for his birthday, his mom made him, instead of a birthday cake, made him this awesome fruit cake. You could probably explain that better. I mean, stuff like this.
When you say fruit cake, you think of Christmas and the thing that nobody wants to eat.
Right.
But no, she just took a bunch of different fruits, my favorite fruits, pineapple and strawberries and grapes and oranges, and she just sort of made this, it almost looked like a castle of different fruits. And that was my birthday cake, and I just thought that was the most awesome thing. And that's a great healthy alternative to something like cake and ice cream. And so, having a really good support structure is important for special occasions. Letting everybody, your friends and family know, I'm on this diet. I don't want to stray off of it because, peer pressure when they're saying, hey, have this hot dog because it's a party, you're supposed to. It was Super Bowl wasn't long after we started the program, and that was, everybody was big into the Super Bowl foods, and have some wings and have some chips and dip and everything, and just, you have to be like, I can't, and I need you guys to support me and not try to tempt me with that stuff.
So how has your support system been through this process?
I think it's been pretty fantastic. I don't have any complaints for the most part. My wife has been super supportive from the get-go. She actually started doing the same diet that I am. My mom got on the same diet that we're doing, and she dropped like 20 pounds in a week. My mom's not wasn't a very big lady, but just to see those instant results from people in my immediate family that are, doing it as well. I mean, that was very, very cool. And it also let me know that, I'm not alone in this, but I've got the best friends in the world. I've got a great family. Everybody has been so supportive. So when we have these sort of events, like the 4th of July or birthday parties or whatever, everybody's pretty understanding for the most part. There isn't a whole lot of pressure. You do get random questions about, well, what about, could you eat a veggie pizza? What if we got a veggie pizza? Well, we can't do the veggie pizza. No, but for the most part, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, Tim, what about you? Your mom did a great thing by making that fruitcake.
Absolutely, and my friends and family have all been super supportive about it, and some extended family, cousins and such, who I don't see very often. I'll see them for the first time maybe since I've lost a good amount of weight, and they can't stop talking about how great I look and hey, you're doing great, you're doing amazing. And and then same way with my friends when we'll go out to places, they won't pressure me into splitting a big appetizer or something with them, and they won't make fun of me if I'm just getting some vegetables and fruit or something like that. So yeah, it's really important that you've got support around you to not bring you down, especially when those times you're having rough times and you're having times when you're feeling like you may crack. If you have people around you who are kind of like
I was going to say, have you cheated? Have you had that moment where you're just like, I can't do this, I got to have this?
I give myself one cheat meal every couple of weeks.
Okay.
Can't do a cheat day. I tried doing a cheat day once, and I had to work extra hard because I put a couple pounds back on. Mm-hmm. But I give myself a cheat meal about every 2 weeks. And when I started, it was like going back to some of the typical foods I used to. And now it's grilled chicken and salad if I'm going to have a cheat meal. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Your cheat meal is not what it used to be.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Tim, have you had any cheating moments?
No, I haven't, because I'm kind of like the type of person who, if I break, I think I'm going to break all the way, and I think I might just slide right back into some really bad habits. So I'm kind of making sure that I stay 100% on the diet, and that's just what I need to do in order to stay on it.
Okay, so we just have a few minutes left. What long-term, obviously you cannot eat, you have to at some point transition into real food that you're making in your kitchen. How is that process going to work for you guys?
Well, that is sort of a part of the diet too. Not to go infomercial on the diet that we're doing, but that's the whole part. There's 3 phases to it, so we've started to slowly transition to the second phase. The whole point is just it is a lifestyle change, and I don't envision myself suddenly not exercising. It's such an ingrained part of my everyday life now. I don't think that I'm gonna wake up in a couple months and go, that's it.
Yeah.
Nice run. Good job, Kurtis. You did it for a few months. Great. So I don't see that going anywhere. And with that and what you've learned and changing your habits, I think it'll just be a positive thing. I think it's not just a diet. I think it is a lifestyle change. So.
Yeah. Do you feel this is your lifestyle now, Tim?
Yeah. To echo what he said about continuing with the physical activity, it seems like, when you don't have to go and work out so much anymore, that'll be the first thing to drop off. But you got to think, when you couldn't work out before, when you couldn't do physical activity before because of the pain associated with it and how difficult it was, you don't want to go back to not doing it. You like that you can get out there and run and be way more physically active than maybe you've ever been before. At least that's how it is for me. And so I don't see myself ever not wanting to go and work out and do more physical activity.
So last little bit of advice, if someone's out there, maybe they're where you guys were 6-8 months ago, what would you say to them to get them, make that step?
Well, we get to do blogs, and I've said this before on our blogs that I'm not much for rah-rah speeches, but don't ever count yourself out. Like, I know it's cliche to go, well, if I can do it, anybody can do it. No, if a 30-year-old with a busted up back and hip and knees can find a way to drop 90-some pounds, then you can definitely do this. It's not worth counting yourself out, because it's your life. That's at the end of the day, we're looking at each other going, we're in our early 30s. Like, do we really want to be like this for the rest of our lives? Right. Do we want to have, not to be morbid, but you want to have a long, healthy life. Right. And if I continued on the path I was on, that probably wasn't going to happen. That's the reality of it. So don't ever count yourself out. You can make the change that you want in your life. You just got to take that first step and do it.
Absolutely. I said earlier that I had never lost any measurable amount of weight before in my life, and I kind of got resigned to that. I kind of was thinking, this is me, this is how I'm always going to be. I'm always going to be way overweight, and my health is going to continue to deteriorate, and I'm going to get worse and worse until I'm gone. So when I started the dieting, it was kind of like, this is almost like a last-ditch effort. This is kind of my last chance to really get better. And I almost didn't think it would. I almost didn't think it would happen. And now that it has, I'm like, yeah, exactly what he said. If we can do it, anybody can. Don't ever count yourself out. I never thought I would lose 150 pounds in 6 months, if ever in my life. So yeah, anybody can do it.
Well, good for you. Thank you so much for coming on Being Well and sharing your story with us, and for sharing your story online through their blog. I think it's helping a lot of people.
Thank you so much for having us. It's awesome we get to do something like this.
Thanks. Production of Being Well is made possible in part by Sarah Bush Lincoln Health System, supporting healthy lifestyles, eating a heart-healthy diet, staying active, managing stress, and regular checkups are ways of reducing your health risks. Proper health is important to all at Sarah Bush Lincoln Health System. Information available at sarahbush.org. Dr. Ruben Boyajian, located at 904 Medical Park Drive in Effingham, specializing in breast care, surgical oncology, as well as general and laparoscopic surgery. More information online or at 347-2255. Rediscover Paris. Our patient care and investments in medical technology show our ongoing commitment to the communities of East Central Illinois. Paris Community Hospital Family Medical Center.